What's up, everybody? I'm IGP, and welcome to a video about clickbait. So before we start talking about this, and this is going to be a very unorganized rant video, I'm going to organize it the best I can. But before we get started, if you're new, hear me out. Okay, I'm going to be expressing an opinion or stance that you may not agree with. Or I might be presenting the other side of the token that no one dare speak of. It needs to be talked about. I haven't seen too many people discuss this in depth. I've seen people mention it. Very large YouTubers have mentioned clickbait here and there. I feel like it's a sensitive topic that no one really wants to address fully. So we're going to try to do that today. And I hope you stick around to kind of get a better idea of what it is. And maybe we can stop misusing it. And maybe we can understand a little bit more about why we do it and why it's probably going to be the way it is for a very long time. Also, I'm pretty sure I can speak for all YouTubers when I say I'm tired of seeing people crying clickbait when they don't know what it means. Now, if you are familiar with my channel, hi. It's been a long time since I've shown my face. Anyway, let's get started. Now, the first thing I want to do is kind of set up an organizational list to kind of make you think that this is going to be a very organized video when in fact it's a rant. But let's go over to this screen. Bam. Look at this professional ass, bomb ass looking list of shit we're going to talk about. Okay, so first point is, what is clickbait? We have to define clickbait if we want to talk about clickbait. After that, we'll talk about the different types of clickbait and how everyone keeps confusing a lot of them. Then we'll talk about how YouTube has misused the nature of clickbait and how it's turned into something gross. The next one is why clickbait is necessary. Now, this topic is going to trigger so many people because nobody likes clickbait. I don't like clickbait either. Nobody likes clickbait. I'll explain to you why in a bit, but after that, we'll talk about what we can do to lessen the need for clickbait. Now, I'm not saying that I can change anything because I can't. Me being a rebel alone will do absolutely nothing. However, if more people are informed about what clickbait is and how it came to be, then maybe we can do something to reverse it. I don't entirely think it's possible, but I have some hope. Anyway, so what is clickbait? My definition of clickbait, click referring to the computer mouse, you click something. It's a bait to get you to click something, an article, a video, any kind of medium on the internet that piques your curiosity just enough to not satisfy it. So you are then forced subconsciously to click to then satisfy this gap in your brain. Nobody can help it. Clickbait is so beautiful. Not saying it's good, but it's beautiful in the way that it has manipulated people into subconsciously clicking on stuff. So that's my loose definition of clickbait, but let's look at what dictionary says about clickbait. Google what is clickbait and you get this. Clickbait, a noun. On the internet, content whose main purpose is to attract attention and encourage visitors to click on a link to a particular web page. Now that actually sums it up way better than mine does because a web page would define a video on YouTube because it has its own URL. But its purpose is to attract attention and encourage a click-through. That is the dictionary definition of clickbait. I feel like that's a little bit more lenient. There are different definitions and everyone has their own definition of what clickbait is. I'm sure you can see lots of discussions. Now, another thing you have to remember is clickbait doesn't necessarily refer to just the internet, okay? I mean, clickbait, that word exactly is for clicking, but the idea of clickbait, the exaggerated titles, the colorful photos and things like that have been used everywhere. Has been used back when paper boys were yelling out absurd fucking headlines on newspapers just to sell them. They realized that if you pique people's curiosity, even way back then, that you can get more sales out of it. Even if the article isn't that exciting, even if it's not what the headline is about. And this has been around, this is not just an internet thing, this has been around forever. So keep that in mind that any television, movies, any restaurant you go into, newspapers, magazines, any store you go into, everything revolves around piquing your curiosity in order to make a sale or to get you to watch, click, read, or do something that they want you to do. And that's the nature of clickbait. Let's go ahead and talk about the different types of clickbait. Here is my YouTube homepage, which is, by the way, the stupidest shit, okay? Not the videos on here, but the way it's shown to me. This is why, and this is going to be real quick, this is why subscriptions don't matter anymore. And it's so weird to have this on a subscription-based platform. But in order to see your actual subscription feed, which I'm sure a lot of new people to YouTube don't even know what the hell that is, but you can actually click subscriptions up here, and it will give you a list of videos that have been uploaded in order, recent to, you know, the furthest back, all of your subscriptions. But it doesn't default to that. Instead, YouTube defaults to the homepage where it shows you recommended stuff. But anyway, that's a whole nother rant video. Right now, we're going to talk about the different types of clickbait. And if you're looking at the screen, you can definitely see the one your eye is most drawn to. And mine is PewDiePie's video, the ultimate clickbaiter. And that's not a bad thing. He's good at what he does. I always have watched PewDiePie back when he was doing games before I started my channel, and even now because he's funny as fuck. But this is the classic way of clickbaiting. This is like the Facebook version of clickbait. Never say this to a gamer. 10 things this woman did in her lifetime. You won't believe number 9. PewDiePie's been doing this a lot lately, but there's such a vague description between the thumbnail and title that you don't even know what the video could even be about. That is the ultimate curiosity piquer, because you're like, what? There's this, for me, even right now, I haven't watched this video yet. There's this thing going on in my brain right now that's saying, dude, find out what it is. Because if you don't, I'm gonna go insane. So I'm very desperate to click on that right now. And that's the nature of clickbait, is that you give just enough information to pique someone's curiosity and basically force them to click and watch through to find out what it is or to satisfy that gap. And you're probably going to be fine with the video, right? You're probably going to be fine because you know it's PewDiePie. The clickbait with a lot of YouTubers nowadays, and I will speak for myself as well, keep this in mind, the clickbait that a lot of us do now is something that we have to do, but it's also a stab at the establishment. PewDiePie is doing clickbait, but his video is actually good and will likely contain good information or at least entertain you regardless. You can expect that from PewDiePie, but what people's understanding of clickbait is the different type of clickbait. Whereas, let's say this was a different person. Never say this to a gamer and it has a woman, maybe it even shows a little bit of cleave. So just to bait somebody in and they're not talking about anything. Let's say they don't even mention anything about saying anything to a gamer. And that would be the worst kind of clickbait. That's what I call the clickbait and switch, from the root bait and switch. You bait somebody in with an idea of something, you get their hopes up, or you have this idea planted in them, and then it's nothing compared at all to what was advertised. And this is the way YouTube used to work in the past. Used to have boobs in the thumbnail. Let's say it's a cooking show and they put boobs in the thumbnail to attract you, even though those boobs are not anywhere in the video. There's different types of clickbait. Now let's look at this one, Icy Caress, good buddy of mine. For Cosmeteer, this game is free, ? So this is clickbait and this is fine. There's nothing wrong with it, right? Because he's piquing your curiosity, saying, how is this free? Giving you the idea that the game is really good. Now, this is a different type of clickbait because I'm given more than enough information to get an idea of what it is, right? Cosmeteer, I know the name of the game. I can look it up myself without even having to watch this video, right? So the bait here is very subtle. There's a whole spectrum of clickbait. Now, I want to talk about why clickbait is necessary on YouTube. Now, this is going to be a talk, okay? This is definitely going to be a talk. Clickbait is something that we need, and it's only needed because YouTube has become reliant upon clickbait. Let's talk about how it started. Now, YouTube used to be a subscription-based website. So here's my subscription feed. And I already see a video. I'm going to watch the hell out of this one right here. Holy crap. So this is my feed. This is the way YouTube used to work. It was more like horizontal. But basically, as soon as one of your subscribed channels had uploaded a video, it would then go to the top of the list. Just looking at this, I'm seeing channels I forgot that I was even subscribed to, because YouTube is not going to give us anymore the subscription-based feed. A lot of people are like, I didn't even know you uploaded. I haven't watched you in forever, IGP. That's because you're not seeing my videos being uploaded and you're watching content that differs from mine. But this is the way it used to be. People didn't have to clickbait. For instance, back in the day, I could put any title that I want in my videos and it wouldn't matter, because if you're subscribed to me, then you will be notified in your subscription feed. And back then it was just a race of when am I going to release to be at the top of that list, so when people get home from school, they'll see me first and would watch. That was the competition back then. Like, look, it's Storpy. Dude, I haven't watched Storpy in fucking forever, and I hate the fact that Storpy was one of the best, if not still the best, horror Let's Player for me. I loved that guy. Honestly, you could say right now, I haven't seen a video from him in a year. I haven't not seen a video from him in a year. YouTube has not recommended me seeing one of his videos, and this is actually fucking awesome that I can see a video now. I haven't clicked on this in forever. That's the problem. So this is the way YouTube used to work until they realized that they had a better idea to get ad revenue. Okay, so they moved from subscription feeds to suggestions, recommended feeds. The sidebar is now the most important place, then the homepage. When you're watching a video, they want you to stay on their platform. They want you to stay on their website for as long as possible. Channels that keep people watching forever will get promoted, and it would just be a never-ending cycle of like people constantly watching relatively the same. It went from people watching a spectrum of videos this big to narrowing it down to a select thing. Now we have to worry about standing out in the sidebar. So if I make a Subnautica video, or anyone makes a Subnautica video, for instance, Double J right here, has to make the most catchy looking Subnautica video, thumbnail and title, in order to stand out in the sidebar if people are watching Subnautica videos, in order to gain exposure, or in order to remind people who are subscribed to him that they've uploaded a video. Double J has to do this in order to let them know. Let's just speak personally, I can't rely on YouTube to have every one of my subscribers see my videos anymore. If I didn't clickbait and I stayed the way I was, my views would have dropped tremendously. They wouldn't be interested in clicking on it because there's other things catching their attention. Therefore, they're not getting their subscription feed anymore. So nobody, unless you click the bell, which is still a relatively new concept to a lot of people, unless you click the bell, you're not going to get notified in your subscription feed. You're not going to click that subscription button right there and show the list of all your subscribed channels. You're not going to do that. Instead, you're going to keep getting fed by YouTube all of the videos they think you're going to like. So therefore, clickbait is now necessary, because if you don't, you will not grow as a YouTuber. Now, I don't know if you guys are aware. If you're new, you may not be, but I do this full time. This is providing a life for myself and my family, okay? I enjoy doing it. That's why I started from the beginning. I was busting my ass working in closets and underneath houses and working in any kind of crappy situation I can to do this, because I love it. But now it has become my source of income. So therefore, I'm reliant on it. And I'm sorry if that offends some of you, but yes, I definitely need the ad revenue. I need this. I have to survive. My children have to survive. It's just how it is. So if I don't stay with the changes in YouTube, I wouldn't grow. I would die off. That's basically what would happen. There's a lot of channels that used to do well that don't do well on the new way that YouTube works. It sucks. And if you're not willing, as a YouTuber, if you're not willing to change, you will die out unless it changes back. Maybe it has. Maybe I can watch this video and see what the hell's going on. That is why clickbait is necessary. I hope that's a loose idea of what it is, but I hope you understand a little bit more about why it is. You have to. Nobody likes it, but you have to. If you don't do it, your channel's gonna die. Now, we talked about the reason why YouTube became clickbait heavy or reliant, but it also has to do with you guys. And I'm not trying to make the general YouTube viewing audience into my scapegoat or YouTube's scapegoat or anyone's scapegoat. I'm simply saying that because of your overwhelming curiosity, and mine as well, this has become the norm. And it's not just overwhelming curiosity. Do you understand how many people have explained to me how upset they were with clickbait and how they didn't think it was their fault because they didn't even read the title or look at anything like in detail for the thumbnail of what they're clicking? Basically, what they were saying is they were aimlessly clicking. That's just running autopilot. You're watching, it's like you're watching scary videos. I don't know if anybody else does this, but I do it. You're watching scary videos and you see something, ooh, that picture looks scary, I'm gonna click it. Didn't even bother to read who it was, didn't even bother to read what the title was, didn't bother to really look at the thumbnail. It was just aimless clicking. I've done that all the time, and then I start watching shitty, stupid fucking clickbait and switch ghost videos or something stupid. We are the reason why this is happening. Now, what can we do to change that? That's very hard. We got to stop aimlessly clicking. Stop aimlessly clicking on videos, okay? Pay attention to what you're clicking on. And do not watch an entire video. with the hopes of something happening that you filled your head in with by aimlessly clicking or very quickly looking at a thumbnail and hoping it was going to happen and then realizing that it didn't, okay? You need to pay attention to what you're clicking on, because if you accidentally click and then you see that it's bogus, most people will click off, but some people don't even know what they're clicking on, and when they watch it, they're waiting to see what's going to happen, and nothing happens. Nothing happens, and then they get upset. There are very obvious clickbaits. There are very obvious ways of determining, or clickbait and switch, rather, that type that most people are pissed off about. You can avoid that very easily. If you're subscribed to me, okay, and you should do this with all of your subscribed channels. You can do, as I've said, you can even click over here. Look, click this, and then you have all your subscriptions down here. You can go one by one, click the bell on their notifications, and get notified on all the ones you want to be notified of. You should clean up your subscription feed anyway. So that's what we can do. Pay attention to what we're doing, clicking wise. If it seems like it's going to be clickbait, if you basically tell yourself, there is no way this is true, okay? If there's no way this is true, then don't click, especially if you want to complain about giving somebody ad revenue, which is a really stupid argument. If it offends you that you watched an ad for them and it was bullshit, then don't click on the videos. It really isn't that hard to look at the video and use context. Has this person bait and switched me before? Have they lied to me before in a video? Do I really want to invest the time of being upset, commenting, and getting into an argument over literally your own fault? Right? You can blame the establishment entirely. Yes, you can blame the establishment, YouTube, for making it the way it is. And then there's the scum of YouTube that takes advantage of this and makes those videos that have nothing to do with whatever bait they use to get you in. You can blame them, yes, of course, but we as a viewing public need to be smarter than that. If we don't want these people on YouTube anymore, stop clicking on them. Stop watching them. Stop watching the video all the way through and disappointing yourself and then encouraging more of that shit to happen. My main goal when it comes to my videos, in my clickbait, is very exaggerated jokes. It really is. It's a stab at the establishment. As I said before, there are a lot of people that do that. All the, like Oompaville does a lot of clickbait for the sake, at least I feel like it, for the sake of just poking fun at the fact that clickbait is even existing. That we have to do this. It sucks. We all hate it. Every single one of us hate it. But I hope that with any kind of, curiosity that's peaked with you guys, that you're satisfied when you watch the videos that I make. I am proud of the videos I make. I work very hard on them. I try to make it as entertaining as possible, and I will never lie to you about anything. If it's a clever wording of something, or it's a bait in any way, it is literally just to get your attention. And in a way, it's saying, hey, there are a lot of shitty videos being recommended to you probably. I promise you that if you come over here, you might like what you see. You might like it, and hey, maybe you'll enjoy it and subscribe, and then you'll have a constant flow of entertaining videos. Maybe. That's what I hope for. That's what I aim for. The ultimate picture I'm trying to paint is, you gotta stop being upset about clickbait, okay? Because it's everywhere. Realize what clickbait is and stop shouting it in the comments so absurdly and misusing the idea of it, and realize why you're actually upset and not blame the YouTubers for it and make death threats and shit. And speaking of death threats, this video is, I recommend you guys at least check this out in regards to the comments only. You don't have to watch the video if you're not interested, but here you can see a prime example of what happens when you aimlessly click or you do not use context to read a thumbnail or look at a thumbnail or read a title to figure out what it is that you're watching to avoid any kind of disappointment you might have. There's a lot of people that are very passionate about a certain part of Subnautica, and I'm not going to go into too much detail. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and dislike this video as well. Got to make that dislike bar bigger. But this certain aspect that these people are very passionate about has filled their minds with some idea that if they see a certain part of the game being advertised, like in this thumbnail, that they're going to have their narrative satisfied. The sunbeam landing and saving the player and having an alternate ending is this thing that is going around in the Subnautica community, so much so that people are just drooling over this idea that if they even see the sunbeam, that's the first thing that gets triggered in their mind. There were people that commented below saying, I just saw the sunbeam and I immediately clicked and thought it was going to be saved. Now, had these people actually looked at the thumbnail or read the title, they could definitely derive that that's not what happens and that they have completely misinterpreted the points of the metadata that is attached to this video, thus shouting clickbait, which it is clickbait, yes, but you're not upset about the clickbait, because if you were upset about the clickbait, you would be upset about anyone on YouTube at this point, because every single channel has, like we said, has to clickbait. They are mostly upset because they think that I lied to them, that I said or implied something and then didn't deliver on that promise, which wasn't the case at all. People saying I should die in a hole with no friends or family because I clickbaited. And you don't see that kind of reaction to regular clickbaits, because all of my videos recently have been very clickbaity. And this is a prime example of us needing to stop aimlessly clicking and pay attention to what it is that we are watching. There are people down below as well who literally misinterpreted the entire video by just seeing this one ship in this thumbnail. Didn't look at the title, didn't look at anything else in the thumbnail, just saw it, assumed what it was about, and watched all 38 minutes only to complain that it's not what they wanted to see. The mindset is terrible in any way for you to just be scrolling and randomly clicking videos because you see something and then assume or interpret it the wrong way. You really need to pay attention to what you're clicking. And of course, for those who want some clarification, my idea for the thumbnail originally was to take a screenshot of the sunbeam looking up from the mountain island biome without having the gun in the picture and having a little bit of water. I wanted that scenario to take place, but when the screenshot was taken, the sunbeam was too small and it didn't really look good zoomed out, which is a thing that I do to make sure my thumbnails will look good on mobile and such, and you can still tell what is going on. So I actually flew up in free cam mode after freezing the game when the sunbeam arrives and taking a close-up screenshot and putting that into the thumbnail. And it looked extremely real. And I intentionally did not put that in there. I changed it because I didn't want people to misinterpret what the video is about. So I actually switched it from the real sunbeam to the concept art sunbeam, so that way it's a little bit more obvious that it is a photoshopped image and isn't part of the game. If it was, you'd imagine I would have taken a real screenshot of it. The sunbeam is bigger and closer in appearance to the island for the purposes of the sunbeam being visible in the thumbnail as it zooms out. That's literally it. All these people took that as me trying to say there's an alternate ending with the sunbeam. Now, the wording of this video is SEO. That's very simple stuff. Search engine optimization. At this point, keywords are one of the biggest and most important factors in getting suggested along other videos. So having a keyword heavy title and such makes the most sense. If I was trying to insinuate that there was an alternate ending, I would have said so. I would have put a question mark at the end. Could have done a million different things, but I didn't. Well, people aren't thinking about that. They're too blinded by this idea that everyone's out to bait them into getting money out of them, which is pretty much how everyone is acting. Anyway, we got to start paying attention to our viewing habits. I don't think we're not going to be able to change it. I really don't think that's going to happen. But if some of us can, at least for you personally, if you pay attention to what you are, you'll have a better experience on your own on YouTube. I can guarantee it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to cut this video here. I hope you guys learned something. If I missed anything or maybe you have something to add, be sure to do that in the comment section below. Talk it up. Let me know your feedback. And thanks again for watching. Love you all. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.